Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already. Welcome to the Gary Cantrell Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm a little bit bummed, I got to be honest with you guys. This podcast that you're getting this week was actually supposed to be me on the beach. But unfortunately, based on my schedule, you know, when you go on vacation, it's a crazy thing. It's hard to really schedule like things to do as far as plans because you know, you want to go out and have fun. Sometimes you want to sleep in. There's a lot of variables on a vacation. I did actually make it to the beach with my equipment. Unfortunately, it was on a rainy and windy day, and the damn thing sounded like a mess. Welcome to the Gary Cantrell Podcast. I'm coming to you guys right now from the beach of the Isle of Palms. So I decided to scrap that as far as releasing it in full and just essentially give you the same podcast, but with me on the road instead. I hate to break like the fourth wall and all that stuff because I wanted it to be me on the beach, and then the following week I got my man Ryan at Big Sexy Bearded Beast, one of my pals from Instagram, which we did the interview in South Carolina. So really, I should really put his next and then put mine after if we're in the right continuity as far as, you know, storytelling. Hey, I'm in Virginia again as opposed to South Carolina. And then next week I'm in South Carolina. And I really don't even need to explain all this to you guys because it's probably stuff you don't care about. But I don't know. Sometimes I get long-winded with my thoughts, and as far as intricate details that really don't matter, but they're on my brain, so I'm going to share them, I guess, right? I mean, there's got to be at least one or two of you that likes these weird nuances about my podcast where I talk about the inside baseball stuff. So anyway, let's get to it. So my focus on that podcast on the beach was supposed to be talking about fighting for your dreams and how appropriate actually did this work out that I'm doing this podcast now because I'm in the car. I'm back home in Virginia. Spoiler alert. We'll be back in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina next week with Ryan. But I'm in the car. It's about almost 5:30 in the morning, and I'm headed to Kings Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know this is a place that I hang out, you know, from time or two. Last summer, I spent the entire summer trying to lose weight so that I could fit on the rides at Kings Dominion. Crazy, right? But today, I'm headed down there so early just because I'm actually participating in a 5K at the park, which is super exciting because when I think about it, they're going to let us run around the damn park. And I'm just like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be so much fun. It's a 5K where you run around Kings Dominion. I think it covers pretty much the entire park. And there's some different twists and loops and, you know, to get you to the 3.1 or 3.2 miles or whatever a 5K is. But I looked at the course. It was kind of exciting because as somebody who's gone to this park for the last 25 years plus, what my intrigue about it is that part of the course actually takes you behind the scenes and behind the park where the public normally is not given access. So there is some excitement about that. And maybe running into some cool stuff along the way. Maybe there'll be like some old ride cars or parts buried back there. I've always been like geeky and been a part of like Facebook groups for the theme park, and I've like saw pictures of like old roller coaster cars that are just sitting somewhere in the back of the park. So I don't know if we're going to run into any of that. That would be like rather exciting if we did though, right? I mean, that'd be kind of cool. So, fighting for your dreams. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. You may have got a hint of it in my last podcast with my wife, which I should preface and just say I apologize for the audio quality, listening back. There were a lot of people that hit me up and were just so very nice. They're like, oh, I love this podcast. And I'm just like, I am so sorry about that audio. What happened was we had my phone, it was too close to the recorder, I realized, and that is what caused that interference. And I only put it out for a couple of reasons, and that was, number one, it was my wife's first podcast, and you're never going to get that first podcast back. I mean, yes, we could have re-recorded it and put it out as the first, and you guys would have never known the difference, but I would have known the difference, and I'm not about that life. And two, it was just so good. Like, you just can't get that magic in a bottle twice. I mean, yes, we could do other podcasts, and I'm sure they would be great talking about other stories, but that first time talking about those stories, you're just not going to get that back. It's just not going to happen. So I figured, yeah, let's not do that. Let's just put it out, and, you know, I'll edit it out, because it actually sounded worse, and I was able to do some edits to make it less intrusive to the podcast. So there you go. But fighting for your dreams, you may have caught a hint of this. I've been on this long journey with my mind for the last, I don't know, probably 2-3 months. And it probably goes hand in hand with my visiting Charleston, with my going back on the July 4th week. Excuse me. And what it is, it's a struggle, but not a bad struggle. Like, I don't want to say I'm like mentally upset, because I'm not. I'm actually in a good place right now, but I struggle with my mind because I feel like maybe my purpose is something greater. And what do I mean by that? Right now, living in Virginia, quality of life for me is not ideal. I kind of go through this every couple of years, and then I kind of put it away. You get that box of junk that you close up and you put in the closet, and you don't look at it for a while. That's kind of what all this is. And so in a way, I guess I'm running from what I think is the inevitable, and that is, my heart is not here. I feel like it's in South Carolina. We've been there many times, my wife and I, and every time I've been there, I feel, it gets harder and harder to leave. It's just incredible down there. I love it. I know it's not for everybody. It's not like it's not like a song I like where I'm like, you guys got to check out this song. I'm not telling everybody go move to South Carolina, but I'm just saying the amount of time I spent there, the people I've interacted with, the places I've been to, the way I felt mentally, because mental has been a big thing for me all my life. And as this podcast continues to roll on, I'm going to share some of that stuff with you, probably a bit against the advice of others. I'm going to share my real life. I mean, that's what this podcast is, about my real life struggles. And mental has been an issue of that. And when I get feeling about something, I feel very strongly and very passionate about a particular topic. And here's the dilemma I'm in. Maybe it's just easier if I explain it to you like this. So I live in Northern Virginia, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. I've lived here most of my life, outside of the times with my father, as you may have heard in my other podcast, episode 31, my side of the story. I had a few stints in California, but that was when I was so young, and I don't even remember it. I've lived in Virginia most of my life, so mostly everything I've ever done has ever been in Virginia. My first love was in Virginia. My first car and driver's license and all that stuff was in Virginia. My first band, most of my first, if not all of my firsts, took place in Virginia. So I don't want to just crap on Virginia because this is home to me in many ways. And for years, I struggled with jobs. In the sense of, I worked, my first job ever was McDonald's, where I put on 50 pounds. And then, I worked retail at CVS, and then I worked for a printing company after that, which was good in the sense of it became a Monday to Friday, and I didn't have to work the weekend anymore, unexpectedly. But the money wasn't great, and I had 5 different bosses, and they never talked to each other. And so if I screwed something up, I get yelled at 5 times for it. And then I landed on the job I have now, which was kind of like you feel like you've hit the lottery in the sense of it's a good company, there's good people, the money's good, but the problem for me is the quality of life surrounding that, and not the job, but where I live, the commute, the cost of living in this area is pretty crazy. I mean, unless you're making 75 to 90,000, anything below, and you really feel like you're flipping pizzas trying to live in Manhattan. Okay, if I can put that in perspective, because this area has gotten so crowded and so overpopulated, and the traffic is just abominable. I mean, it's unreal how bad this traffic is. Going home, like my boss, she's been so cool to me over the years. She's like, hey, we're going to change your schedule, and you can get off at 3 now, which will be really great because traffic will be less intense. And to an extent, that is true. But if I so much as leave 10 minutes late, or even just on some days if I leave on time, traffic is still out of control. It's just out of control. So what I run into is I am sitting in traffic for hours a day, on my way in, on my way out. I tried to go to King's Dominion one day after work, and it took me 3.5 hours to get there. A drive that on a perfect day with 0 cars on the road should have taken about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, took me 2.5 hours. And that to me is just unacceptable. Now, yes, you go anywhere there's traffic, but I feel like most places are not as bad as this. And if you look online, Northern Virginia is ranked amongst the worst. So you have quality of life, which is a big problem, big struggle. The other part of it that I struggle with is my purpose. What is my purpose? And in the last year, as much as it's been a health awakening, figuring out how to work out, what to eat, all that stuff. That's a big awakening. What can my body do? We're going to find that out at the 5K today, what my body can do. But what is my purpose? And what I mean by that is, like, am I supposed to be working the job I am? Or do I feel what in my heart I feel like I should be doing? And that is touring the country and talking to men and women like you guys listening that may be struggling in your fitness. Not that I'm a fitness coach by any means, but just to go around and give everybody a, hey, I'm there. I'm struggling with you. Let's help each other. I feel called upon to travel the country and meet men and women and encourage them and give them maybe the encouragement I never got, until I got on Instagram and met all these wonderful people like Ryan's story, who you'll hear next week on the podcast. Meeting wonderful people and just helping, giving talks at different expos and conventions. And, oh yeah, there's this clothing company I run, hardworkalwayswins.com. Gary's podcast is a code. You get 10% off your order. Sorry, that was a cheap plug, but you could go there. Hard Work Always Wins. That's my clothing line. That's something else that's really cool. That one of the things a lot of people don't know is that that's allowed me to quit my second job, which I was working for Uber and Lyft. I had both. And I was able to quit both because of this t-shirt company. Now, it does not replace my main income, which obviously anybody running a business, that's the goal. You want that to be your baby and you want to just rock and roll with it, but it's not there yet. It's going to take me ideally probably 3 to 5 years to scale it up even bigger. And I've got, a book full of strategies written down that I'm been waiting to implement, because I had the trademark was finally finalized. There's this whole thing, I registered for that thing last year and it takes a long time to get it to finally clear. So I was waiting on that before I could fully execute on it. And now that I have it, it's guns a-blazing. Let's go. So I just, in my mind, I've been really mentally in a struggle because I've been what is my purpose? Where should I be? Am I destined to spend the remainder of my life here in Virginia? Or do I feel on a greater calling to what I think is very exciting, kind of scary, but more exciting, and I'm more excited about it than scared, but the thought of, could I move to Charleston, hit the reset button on life, and start over? And that's an interesting prospect to me. Can I just leave everything behind, hit the reset button, and start over? And that to me is such an attractive idea. It is scary, but it's super attractive. It's like that hot chick at the bar, man. You just got to talk to her. Or women, that hot guy at the bar who, wants to take you home or whatever. It's very attractive to me. And I've thought about it, and I've thought about it, and I've thought about it, and I've not reached a decision yet. I've talked with my wife about it, and she's definitely entertaining it. I know she's got already some kind of preliminary offers from different places down there in her field of choice, the veterinary world, who like what she does and wants to bring her on. But the big holdup is me, because right now I've got a great job. I make great money, but I hate the area I live in. I feel trapped in the area I live in. There's actually a lot of people in this area that are crazier than me that live south, where King's Dominion's at, and other areas like Spotsylvania and Fredericksburg, and commute, 60 miles each way or 70 miles each way. And I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And I thought about that. I'm like, I could just move further south. But then I think about the miles of my car. It's just such a struggle. So I want to put this out to you guys listening. This will be some of that great fan interaction. How many of you listening right now feel a mental struggle? And now, it doesn't mean it has to be exactly what I'm dealing with. Like wanting to move, wanting to, get a new start. But, what are you guys going through? I'd love to hear about it. I really would. And by the way, I want to put this out there. I don't think I put this out there on a podcast yet. I know I did on my Instagram. But if you guys are listening and you've got a story to tell, whether it's weight loss, whether it's about your life, if you feel like you've got something interesting and compelling to talk about, I want to hear about it. If you want to share it, of course. I mean, you don't have to. You could share it with me in private on a DM on Instagram, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. We can talk. People tell me I'm a good listener. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat there. Seems like every time only when I cut on the microphone does my throat get all clogged up. It's really weird how that works. So, are you going through a struggle right now? Do you feel destined for greatness and you feel like your current situation is holding you back? Because that's where I'm at. I feel like a prisoner in the area I live in. Like, literally everything else to me is like fine. If I had the job I had and I could do it in Charleston, that would be amazing. It's just this damn area. I can't get past it. And unfortunately, when you try to just suck it up and go, it's extremely difficult because it weighs on you. And especially when you have a history of mental, issues, it weighs on you. And that's about as real as I can give it to you guys, I'm thinking about leaving, but it's obviously going to be years out, likely, before I could even do that or think about doing that. But I don't know, folks. We're going to see what happens. I am excited either way. The prospect of starting over really excites me. So I just got some more thinking to do, and I got to figure out, is this my purpose? Is this where I'm meant to be? So I'm figuring that out. It says I have another 44 miles. I think I've only gone 25 miles so far in the time that we've talked here on the podcast. But I am excited about this 5K today. I've not done one since April, and I don't know how it's going to go, but I don't do it for time and all that stuff. I'm not like a professional, what do you call that? Athlete or competitor. I remember my last 5K, I ran very well in the company of others. I know that. That's something that Ryan, who you'll hear next week at Big Sexy Bearded Beast, mentioned to me in a DM. He was kind of like a great mentor when it came to the 5K stuff. He's crushing it at that. And you'll hear his story next week on the podcast. But he said, whatever you're going to do in the 5K, you'll probably do it a few minutes faster just because you're going to be around others and you're going to want to perform well in the company of others. And that was so true. So I don't know how I'm going to do today. It's been tough. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to BS you guys because that's just not what I do. But I'm going to tell you that, in focusing on weights, my cardio, as I've mentioned before, I've dialed it down a little bit. And, when I go running, I still feel like I have the same pace, but I need to continue to work on that balance. That's really the best way I can explain it, is I need to continue to dial in that balance, because what I found was, before I started working on the weights heavily, I was like mostly cardio, gung-ho, all cardio. And then when I said, all right, time to do the weights now, focus on the weights, it was something to where I dialed back the cardio maybe a little too much, and I need to dial it back up again, I think. And this is the great thing about doing a custom plan and trying to figure things out. It's that you can adjust on the fly. I'm not doing some DVD where they're saying do it this way, and there's nothing wrong with you if you do it that way. Some people prefer different ways of going about it. Me, I'm very much I'm a custom. I do everything based on custom because I'm kind of rebellious in the sense of I don't like taking direction of others. So I like to make it my own way, pretty much. So lesson learned, I put on probably 10 pounds, maybe 15. I can just feel it. So I know that, all right, let's dial the cardio back in a little bit more. Still focus on the weights. I may even add a day or two to the gym. I mean, I'm already going 4 to 5 days, mostly 5, but I feel like maybe the better balance is going 6 or 7, and on what would have been rest days, just doing like weights that are least intense, and taking my main days back as my heavy cardio days. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I need to just do a week of it and figure out what I like. I'm also going to be getting a bike soon, and I'm going to start doing biking, which I'm really excited about, because I remember oh, what was it? 2005. I lived actually in a similar area to where I live now, and my job at CVS working retail was about 6 miles away. So I was doing 12 miles round trip 4 or 5 days a week, and I lost a lot of weight that way. I went down like 4 pant sizes over the summer, which was incredible, by the way. So now obviously I don't know if I'm going to be able to bike that much during the week with my job and how far away I live and the amount of time I spend in a car, but what I'm looking for with the bike is maybe taking those weekend workouts and making those my bike workouts and going longer distances, 2, maybe 3 days a week, and seeing what that does for me. And I'm not just doing it just for the weight loss. I'm doing it because I really used to enjoy biking. I had a great love for biking. It was a lot of fun. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do. So I should be getting a bike here in the next couple of weeks. My mother says she wants to get me one as an early birthday present. My birthday's not till August, by the way. Hold off on your happy birthday wishes and your cards and your lovely gifts and all that. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm just messing with you guys. Yeah, so she's gonna get me a bike for my birthday, which I'm really excited about. What the hell? 6 beers and a goat brewery. I just saw that on a sign. Like, you go down I-95 and they have these blue signs where it tells you, like, here's the gas stations, here's the restaurants, here is, you know, hotels, and something had six bears and a goat brewery, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird. I need to Google that later and see what that's all about. I'm sure you guys, some of you guys, have curiously minimized your podcast app on your phone and went to Google to look up 6 bears and a goat brewery, and can I not say that word right? Brewery. Okay. Over here in Warrington, Virginia. So there you go. Where are we at? 26 minutes? Wow, okay. Wow, we're doing pretty good. So I'm going to make some adjustments. I think it's time. And I love what I'm seeing in my body, though. I am so happy with, you know, the one thing I've noticed about going all in on the weights is the definition that's starting to form in my arm, which I'm a huge fan of. I love it. I think it's awesome. I'm really excited about it. And running these 5Ks is fun. I'm gonna start running more of these, I think, but only the fun ones. I'm not here to do the super duper serious ones. Excuse me. That's not what I'm here to do. Like this one right here. The last one was my first one. It was a margarita. You get a free margarita. That's kind of fun. I had a old coworker from CVS back in the day say, hey, you should try this one. And I was like, oh yeah, I should do that one. And I did it. And I did very well, at least for my time. This one I consider fun because I'm running around an amusement park. And I'm just like, what is more fun than running around an amusement park? How many times as a kid when they would open up the gates at 10:30 to go into the park, because they would open up like the main gate at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then you would be allowed in the park, but then there was like another set of gates further down that would prevent you from going to the actual rides, which I always thought was silly, but that's neither here nor there. But when they would open up that last gate, everybody would start bolting for whatever the new ride was that summer, whether it be Volcano in 98 or Hypersonic in 01. These are King's Dominion rides, by the way. But people would lose their minds, and once they open up the gate, they would just bolt for it. So now I actually get to legitimately run through this park, which I think is just incredible. So I'm excited to go run through the park. And it's actually beautiful out right now. It's only about 70 degrees. It's slightly cloudy. It's supposed to rain in, I want to say, about 6 hours from now, so around noon, 1 o'clock, but my race will be long done by then. So it should be nice and clear down south here. Supposed to meet up with my pal Richie Drake. We're going to go on some rides after the race. So that should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me on the podcast. And in closing, I just want to say this. If you're struggling, I get it. If you got dreams that you wanted to fight for, you better fight for them. I'm telling you guys right now, I've had so many dreams in my life that I've just let slip away. You know, music aspirations. You know, there were a couple of old radio shows that I just self-destructed pretty much that, you know, you heard about one, you're going to hear about the other here soon. As I continue to share all the things not to do in life. But if you've got dreams, fight for them. To quote the great Daniel Bryan, if you got to fight for your dreams. Fight for your dreams. Fight for your dreams. And if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. And I love that. I love that quote, and I'm going to take that with me, folks. And you should too. Fight for your dreams. Do not let them slip away. Don't let the fear of your mind. It's just like weight loss, by the way. This is what I'm learning. I'm learning just like you. I'm not sitting here trying to preach to you and I'm not executing. Look, I understand, okay? I'm with you. But the whole thing is fighting for your dreams, and the reason why you are not getting where you want to be is the same setbacks and weight loss and fitness journeys, and that is your mind says you can't do it, you're not good enough, your body doesn't want to move this way, although it can because you are so much stronger than you think, and it gives you this limiting beliefs that you cannot do something. Well, I'm here to tell you that your mind is full of crap, and in fact, you can do many things you thought you would never do. Case in point, I am in the car right now going to run a 5K. I paid money to go run. Let that sink in. Tell Gary 2 years ago, hey, big guy, you're going to go run in a 5K. And he's going to be, you're funny. As he's trying to catch his breath. You got to believe the impossible and understand that you are stronger than you think, that your mind, while it's sitting in front of you, is full of it and is not giving you the accurate truth. You need to push that out of the way and get going. Get to work. No matter what your dream is. You want to start a business? Great. You want to lose weight? Great. You want to buy a house? You want to build a house? You want to move somewhere? Great. Start executing now. Don't wait. Don't hold back. And I'm talking to myself, by the way, because as much as I'm working on my stuff, I do have some of these limiting beliefs. So I'm giving myself as much of a pep talk as I'm giving you. But don't wait. Start now. Start right now. Hit stop on this podcast when I say goodbye and start now. Actually, hell with it. Hit stop right now and get started right now, because you are greater than you think, you're stronger than you think, you're smarter than you think, and you've got a hell of a lot more drive and ambition in your gut than you think. So now it's time to get to work and to use these things. And because I have dreams and because I have goals, I'm going to tell you before I go about hardworkalwayswins.com, my apparel company, but it's more than just clothing. It is my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it. And you too can wear some of the sweet swag on your sweet looking body. Y'all are out there working hard, putting that work in, getting some sexy bods, men and women. And now it's time to put one of my good looking shirts on that good looking body of yours. Hardworkalwayswins.com. Head over. Use the code Gary's Podcast, GARYSPODCAST. Use that code, folks, to get you 10% off your first order. in my store. Get you the original black and gold Hard Work Always Wins. I call that the legacy shirt. That's the first one I ever put out. That's the first one I put on my back when I was in the gym, sweating, grinding, working hard, fighting for these dreams I got. We got this new one called Metal, which I really like. It looks like some black metal, yeah, heavy metal logo. It's like a Splash kind of logo. I'm also alternatively calling it Splash, but if you go in the store, you look up Metal. It's called Metal. Fight Like Hell for the Life You Want. Oh, that one is very popular with you folks. You guys hit me up about that one quite a bit. So that one's in the store for you. And all these shirts, by the way, we've got in t-shirts, tank tops, and hoodies. So a wide variety. Hats are coming soon for some of this stuff. We got hats for Hard Work Always Wins as well. Fight for your body and your body will fight for you. Aha, that sounds familiar. I borrowed the Daniel Bryan quote, made it relatable to weight loss. Think it makes a lot of sense, and I put it on a shirt. Fight for your body and your body will fight for you. That shirt in the store. As well as the new one, possibly my favorite one, Be You, Do You, For You. You got people in your life, they think you're full of it. They think you're crap. They think your dreams suck. To hell with them. You don't need them. Move them out of the way. Drop that dead weight. They're worthless. They don't mean anything to your overall goal. Keep doing you. Be you, do you, for you. I think it's self-explanatory. If you think about it for a moment, it'll make sense and you'll get it. What else we got in this store? We got all kinds of stuff, man. Other variations of Hard Work Always Wins. There's another one up there. Bet Against Me. You will lose. Oh, I love that one. I like wearing that one at the gym. That's fun. So a lot of great stuff on the store. I'm fighting for my dreams, and I'm plugging my shit at the end of the podcast. So there you go. Gary's Podcast. That's the code to use. HardWorkAlwaysWins.com. We're working on getting more stuff, more sizes, more everything in progress. I'm testing out some new designs, some new merch. I got a backpack on the way. Can't wait to show you guys that. Some new all over print with the Splash logo I got working on. I got some new hats coming. Lots of new stuff coming, but go check out the stuff that's up there right now because a lot of you guys have hit me up and you like it. And check out, I have an Instagram, Hard Work Always Wins, for the clothing line. So go and check that out because you can see some of the awesome kick-ass folks like yourself wearing my stuff. So, again, you're out there in the gym, you're grinding, you're working hard, you're trying to get that sexy bod, right? Goal weight sexy as F, right? That's what you're looking for? Well, while you're working on that, put on one of my shirts and you'll look even better. I'm telling you right now, folks. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And no, if you guys tell somebody else about the podcast, I'll plug stuff less, I promise. The more people that come to this podcast, the less I will plug. I promise. I'll make a promise to you. So keep bringing in the folks. Thank you guys so much for those of you guys that have left reviews. Yes, I have that little silly little thing at the beginning that asks you for a review, and it really does do a lot for the podcast. iTunes is just so weird. Like, unless you're like a famous celebrity podcast and you're getting like 1 million downloads, the only other way to be pushed up in the rankings and have people see you is by ratings. If there's good word of mouth on a podcast, you can do great things. And that is just a simple fact. So help me out. Leave a review if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Thank you. And as I said in the promo at the beginning of the show, leave a review for others as well because it will make their day. That is so true. So with that being said, guys, I'm getting out of here. If you're still listening, what the hell are you doing? I told you to stop like 5 minutes ago and start fighting, folks. Get out there. Don't be afraid. Please, 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 please. Guys, I'm going to be 36 in August, okay? And here I go. I'm going on again. And those of you guys that stopped are already missing out on this, but I'm going to be 36 this year, and I feel like there's so much of my life that I just wasted away for so much crap for no good reason. Please don't do that. I think a lot of you guys on my Instagram, InstaFam that are following are so much younger. You're like in your mid-20s and you got even more time than I do. Please don't waste what you got. You're on a great path, and you're destined for greatness. So please keep going. Please don't stop. Don't stop believing. That's a great Journey song. I'm going to see them next week. I'm really excited. And just keep fighting. Don't get in your own way. It's not conducive. It doesn't work well for you. Just keep fighting, and you will find that the life you want. I say fight like hell for the life you want, because the life you want is within your reach, and sometimes we just don't realize it. So don't waste your life. Work hard. You got this. All right, now I'm rambling. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Next week on the podcast, my man Ryan at Big Sexy Bearded Beast. This is your cue now to go follow him, read up on him, and then hear his story right here next week on the podcast, folks. I'll talk to you then. Thanks for listening.